The jungle of Vehlora was alive with sound, clicking insects, the low rumble of predator calls, and the rustling of foliage stirred by massive unseen shapes. For most beings, setting foot on this planet meant certain death. To the locals, Vehlora was sacred hunting ground. To humans, it was considered utterly inhospitable. Yet that was where Kael found himself, crouched in the brush, breathing slow and steady as he lined up his spear. The beast before him was unlike anything on earth. Six-legged, plated with bone, eyes glowing like molten amber, it pawed at the dirt, snorting steam. A Grivak, the apex predator of this world. The tribes of Vehlora considered it untouchable prey, a trial only the greatest of hunters could attempt. Kael tightened his grip. He had been stranded here 3 months ago after his transport shuttle was shot down. Food had been scarce, and the only way to survive was to learn the hunt as the Vehlorians did. The spear flew from his hand, slicing through air with uncanny precision. It struck deep into the Grivik's throat before the beast could charge. A final roar shook the ground, and then it collapsed, thrashing until stillness took it. Kael exhaled. Sweat poured down his brow, and his arms trembled from exhaustion. But he had done it. From the shadows of the trees, he felt eyes on him. A figure emerged, taller than Kael by a head, her frame sleek yet corded with muscle. She wore armor made of woven leather and beast bone, her skin patterned with natural ridges and faint luminescence. 2 tusk-like fangs curved from her lower jaw, though her face held a strange elegance. Her yellow eyes glowed like twin suns. She was a Vehlorian huntress, and she was smiling. "You slew a Grivak alone," she said in a low, melodic voice that carried both respect and hunger. "No human has ever done this." Kael pulled the spear free, wiping blood from his hand. "I didn't have a choice. It was either me or it." The huntress circled the corpse, inspecting his throw. She clicked her tongue in approval, a sound like a drumbeat. Clean strike, straight to the artery. Efficient, merciful. Her eyes lifted to him, gleaming with something deeper than admiration. A hunter like that deserves to pass on his genes. Kael blinked. "Excuse me." The huntress stepped closer. "Among my people, to slay a Grivak is proof of supreme fitness. Warriors strive for a lifetime and fail. You did it in a single hunt. It would dishonor nature if such skill were not continued." Her meaning was obvious now. Kael's face burned. "You mean you want to breed?" She tilted her head, confused at his hesitation. "Yes, it is logical. You are strong, cunning, and fertile. I am a proven huntress. Our offspring would inherit greatness." Kael swallowed hard. This wasn't exactly how he imagined conversations would go when he left Earth. Her name was Shira, and after that day she did not leave his side. Though Kael was still considered an outsider, her approval shielded him from much suspicion. Vehlorian society revered the hunt above all else. To them, the hunt was not merely survival, it was religion. To stalk, to strike, to take a life cleanly, that was their philosophy of harmony with the savage world around them. Shira trained Kael as one of her own. She taught him to read the ground for prints, to smell the wind for traces of prey, to still his heartbeat until even the twitch of a leaf sounded like thunder. In turn, Kael introduced her to human improvisation. Snares, traps, ways of using tools the Vehlorians had never considered. The two hunted together like a seamless pair. When Shira leapt with her bone spear, Kael had already flanked. When Kael struck from cover, Shira drove the prey toward him. Their rhythm was instinctive, primal, and each time, Shira's awe grew. "You adapt faster than any warrior I've met," she said one night by the fire, her glowing eyes fixed on him. "It is not luck. It is instinct. I was right. You must not waste such strength." Kael chuckled nervously. "You're very insistent about that." "Would a hunter hoard meat and let it rot instead of feeding the tribe?" she countered. "You carry gifts in your blood. It would be selfish not to share them." He had no reply. One evening, during the Great Hunt, a ceremonial gathering where warriors sought the deadliest beasts in Vehlora's jungle, Kael and Shira faced not one but 2 Grivaks. The first went down with a combined strike. Shira slashed across its eyes, blinding it, while Kael drove a spear into its chest. But the second charged him with fury. Kael was thrown to the ground, breath knocked from his lungs. The beast bore down on him, jaws wide, until Shira hurled herself between them. She stabbed her spear into its mouth, bracing against the force, but the Grivak's massive head snapped the weapon in two. Kael staggered to his feet, heart pounding. He grabbed the broken shaft, vaulted onto the beast's back, and drove the jagged end into the base of its skull. The Grivak let out a strangled roar, collapsing in death throes that shook the forest floor. When silence fell, Kael realized Shira was staring at him again, eyes blazing, chest heaving. But this time, her gaze carried more than respect. It carried hunger. She pressed her forehead against his, the Vehlorian gesture of intimacy. "You are no outsider," she whispered. "You are hunter. You are mine." Kael's breath caught, and for the first time, he did not protest. The tribe held a feast in their honor. Fires blazed, drums pounded, and meat from the slain Grivaks was roasted in offering to the spirits. Shira stood proudly before her kin, Kael at her side. She raised her voice for all to hear. This human is no weak off-worlder. He is Vehlorian in spirit. He fought as one of us, bled as one of us, killed as one of us. And his skill, his genes, must not be lost as stars. The tribe roared in agreement, slamming their weapons against the ground. Even the elders, who had eyed Kael with doubt, nodded with solemn respect. Kael realized then that resistance was meaningless. This wasn't just Shira's will. It was the tribe's. His deeds had bound him to their ways. Later that night, as the celebration waned and the firelight bathed her ridged skin in gold, Shira drew him aside. Her voice was low, but her intent was firm. You will stay. You will hunt with me, and you will give me children worthy of this jungle. Kael hesitated, staring into those fierce, luminous eyes. He thought of Earth, of home, of a life that seemed impossibly distant now. And then he thought of the thrill of the hunt, the fire of survival, and the bond he shared with this alien warrior who saw him not as fragile prey, but as her equal. A smile tugged at his lips. Well, he said, I suppose there are worse fates. Shira bared her fangs in a grin. Good, because a hunter like you deserves to pass on his genes. And under the wild stars of Vehlora, Kael finally accepted that his destiny lay not with the world he had lost, but with the Huntress who claimed him as her mate.